Captain Jung Kim stood straight as the massive door of the alien ship opened. The air that rushed out was hot and smelled like burnt metal. 6 Earth soldiers stood behind him, their hands shaking on their guns. This was humanity's first meeting with aliens, and no one knew what to expect. "Stay calm," Jun whispered. "Remember your training." The creatures that walked out were tall and covered in scales that shimmered green and gold in the sunlight. They had long snouts and yellow eyes with black slits down the middle. They looked like the dragons from old Earth stories, but they walked on 2 legs and wore metal armor. "I am Supreme Commander Thrax of the Alien Empire," the tallest one said in perfect English. "We have studied your languages. We know your weaknesses." Jun swallowed hard but kept his face calm. "I am Captain Jung Kim of the United Earth Defense Force. We welcome you to Earth and hope for peaceful talks." Thrax made a sound like rocks grinding together. It might have been a laugh. "Peace? We do not come for peace. We come to add your planet to our empire." The ground shook as something huge moved inside the ship. Then, a white shape burst into the sky. It was bigger than any Earth aircraft Jun had ever seen. Its wings spread so wide they blocked out the sun for a moment. Its scales were pure white, glowing in the sunlight. "This is one of our war dragons," Thrax said. "We have 1,000 more. They obey only us." The dragon circled above them, then breathed a stream of blue fire that turned a nearby empty field into glass. The heat hit Jun's face like an open oven. "That was set to low power," Thrax said. "At full power, your cities would melt." Jun's mouth went dry, but he kept his voice steady. "Why show us this? What do you want?" "Simple surrender," Thrax replied. "We have taken 17 star systems before yours. None stood against us for long." The Supreme Commander touched a small device on his wrist. The dragon immediately landed behind the Allians, lowering its massive head. Jun could see metal parts embedded in the dragon's skull, glowing with blue light. "Our dragons are bred for war and obedience," Thrax explained. "Their minds are linked to our command systems. They feel no fear, no pain, no doubt. They follow orders perfectly." Jun looked into the dragon's eyes. They were pale blue, almost white. For just a second, he thought he saw something there, something like sadness. "You have 1 lunar cycle to decide," Thrax said. "Surrender, and we will rule your planet, but let your people live. Resist, and we will burn your world to ash." "I must discuss this with Earth's leaders," Jun said, his mind racing. "We will need time." 1 lunar cycle," Thrax repeated, "not 1 day more." Back at Earth Defense Headquarters, the mood was dark. General Hyun-Lee paced the room while leaders from around the world watched on screens. "Their technology is far beyond ours," Hyun said. "Those dragons alone could destroy our major cities in days." "We must find a weakness," said the Russian president. "Every weapon has one." Jun cleared his throat. "Sir, there was something about the dragons. When I looked into its eyes, I don't think they're just weapons. There was intelligence there, maybe even emotion. Interesting, but not helpful." Hyun sighed. "How do we fight creatures that can turn our tanks to puddles?" A woman stepped forward from the shadows of the room. She had been so quiet that Jun hadn't noticed her. "Maybe we don't need to fight them the same way," she said. Her voice was soft but clear. "I'm Dr. Yun Park, xenobiologist. Captain Kim is right about the dragons. I've been studying the scan data, and those creatures aren't just weapons. They're highly intelligent beings." "Your point, Doctor?" Hyun asked. "The Allians control their dragons through fear and technology," Yun said. "But what if there's another way to connect with them? A better way?" Jun looked at her with new interest. "What are you suggesting?" "Something the Allians would never expect," Yun replied, her eyes bright with determination. "Something very human." The meeting room was silent after Dr. Yun Park finished speaking. On the large screen behind her were pictures of the alien dragon's brain. taken by Earth's scanning devices during the first contact. "Look here," Yun said, pointing to colorful areas on the brain scan. "These parts are just like the emotion centers in Earth dolphins and elephants, maybe even more developed." Captain Jum Kim leaned forward in his chair. "You're saying these war dragons have feelings?" "Yes," Yun nodded. "But the Allians put these metal pieces in their brains." She showed a close-up of the metal implants. "These override the dragon's natural thoughts with commands. The dragons are slaves, not willing soldiers." General Hyunli frowned. "This is all very sad, Doctor, but how does it help us? We have less than 4 weeks before the Allians destroy us." Yun took a deep breath. "I think we can turn their greatest weapon against them. The scans show that the dragons are unhappy. They obey because they must, not because they want to." "What exactly are you suggesting?" asked Jun. "We need to get a dragon egg," Yun said simply. "One that hasn't been implanted with control devices yet. We raise it ourselves, without commands, without force." The general laughed. "You want to raise a baby dragon as a pet? That's your plan to save Earth?" "Not as a pet," Yun said firmly. "As a partner. These creatures are intelligent. The Allians don't let them show it because smart slaves might rebel. But if we treat one with respect and care, it might fight for us willingly," Jum finished, starting to understand. "Exactly," Yun smiled at him. "The Allians feed their dragons commands through fear and pain. I want to try something different." "Love," Jun said quietly. Yun nodded. "The one thing the Allians would never think to try." General Hyun stood up and walked to the window. Outside, people were going about their day, not knowing that aliens might soon destroy their world. "This is a crazy plan," he finally said. "But we don't have many options. How do we get an egg?" "Their ship must have a nursery or breeding area," Yun explained. "From what we saw, these dragons are too important to their war efforts. They must make new ones somewhere." Jun stood up. "We need a small team to sneak onto their ship. We can use the diplomatic meetings as cover." "This is extremely dangerous," Hyun warned. "If they catch you stealing one of their precious war dragons, then Earth is doomed anyway," Jun said. "At least we will have tried something." 3 days later, Jun met the team that would join him on this risky mission. There was Minho Kang, the best tech expert in the Earth Defense Force. He could hack into almost any system. And Su Yoon, who moved so quietly that she could sneak up on cats. She would be their eyes and ears. "The Allians have invited us for more talks tomorrow," Jun told them. "We'll go as part of the diplomatic team. While the Allians are busy threatening our leaders, we'll find their dragon nursery." "My scans show a large heat source in the lower part of their ship," Minho said, showing a 3D model on his tablet. "Could be where they keep the eggs warm." "How will we know which egg to take?" Sue asked. "Dr. Park says to look for one that's larger than the others, but still has a soft shell," Jun explained. "That means it's nearly ready to hatch, but hasn't been processed yet." That night, Jun couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the white dragon's sad eyes. Did it know it was being used? Did it dream of freedom? Early the next morning, Eun found Jun drinking coffee and staring at the sunrise. "Scared?" she asked gently. "Terrified," he admitted, "but also hopeful. If you're right about the dragons." "I am," she said with quiet confidence. "Just bring me an egg, Captain Kim. I'll show you what happens when you treat a powerful being with love instead of control." Jun looked at her determined face and, for the first time since the Alliance arrived, felt a small spark of hope. "Call me Jun," he said, "and I'll bring you that egg or die trying." The Allian ship was even bigger inside than it looked from the outside. Jun, Minho, and Sue followed the diplomatic team through long hallways with high ceilings. The walls were made of a strange metal that seemed to glow from within. The air was hot and dry, making it hard to breathe. "Remember," Jun whispered to his team, "we have 2 hours while the talks happen. Then we must be back here for the return trip. Supreme Commander Thrax led Earth's officials into a large room with a round table. As the doors closed behind them, Jun nodded to Minho and Sue. The three of them quietly slipped away down a side corridor. This way, Minho said, checking his small device that showed heat sources. The hottest area is 3 levels down. They found stairs leading down and moved carefully, watching for guards. They passed several Allians, but the lizard-like aliens barely looked at them. They seemed confident that humans weren't a threat. They're so sure they'll win that they don't even worry about us, Sue said quietly. On the 3rd level down, the air became even hotter. Sweat ran down their faces as they followed Minho's heat tracker to a large door. This is it, Minho said. The device shows multiple heat sources inside, all the same size except for a few larger ones. That sounds like eggs, Jun said. But how do we get in? There's no handle. Minho pulled out a small tool and placed it against the wall panel. Their technology uses heat patterns as keys, if I can copy the right pattern. The door suddenly slid open. A surprised alien stood there, yellow eyes widening at the sight of 3 humans. Before it could shout, Sue moved fast. She pressed a small device to the alien's neck. The alien fell to the floor, not moving. Sleep drug, Sue explained. It will wake up in 30 minutes. They dragged the unconscious alien into a corner and entered the room. Inside were rows of large, round objects sitting in glowing sand. The eggs were pearly white, almost glowing, each about the size of a beach ball. Look for one with a soft shell, Jun reminded them. That's what Dr. Park said to find. They split up, carefully checking each egg. The room was hot like an oven, and Jun could feel his skin turning red from the heat. Here, Sue called softly. This one moves when I touch it. Jun and Minho hurried over. The egg she found was slightly larger than the others, and its shell gave a little when Jun gently pressed it. This is the one, he said. Let's get it out of here. Minho pulled out a special bag lined with material that would keep the egg warm. Carefully, they placed the egg inside. Just as they were closing the bag, an alarm started blaring. Red lights flashed along the walls. They know we're here, Minho said, checking his device. Guards are coming from both directions. We need to split up, Jun decided quickly. Sue, you're the fastest. Take the egg and go up the east stairs. Minho and I will create a distraction. But Sue started to argue. That's an order, Jun said firmly. Earth needs that egg more than it needs us. Sue nodded, took the bag with the egg, and slipped out through a small side door. Jun and Minho ran the other way, making noise to draw attention. They made it to a large open area before 5 alien guards blocked their path. The aliens pointed weapons that glowed with blue energy. Run, Minho shouted, pushing Jun toward a different hallway. I'll hold them off. No, we go together, Jun insisted. Minho smiled sadly. Someone has to slow them down, or they'll catch Sue before she gets to the ship. He pulled out a small device. This will create a big enough distraction. Go now. Jun wanted to argue, but he knew Minho was right. With a last look at his friend, he ran down the hallway. Behind him, he heard Minho shout something at the Allians. Then came a bright flash and a loud boom that shook the whole ship. Jun made it back to the diplomatic party just as they were leaving. His clothes were torn and his face was covered in ash. But he was alive. And most importantly, when he looked at Sue, she gave him a small nod. She had the egg. As they left the ship, Jun looked back. Minho wasn't with them. The price had been high, but Earth now had a chance. Deep underground in the mountains of Korea, Dr. Yun Park had made a special room for the dragon egg. It was warm like the room on the alien ship, but not as hot. Soft lights glowed red, making the white egg shine. Yun had spent 3 days watching it, barely sleeping. Any changes? Jun asked, entering the room with 2 cups of coffee. He gave one to Yun. Thank you, she said, taking the sip. The shell is getting softer. I think it will hatch soon. June sat down next to her. They had been mourning Minnow, who died helping them escape with the egg. His sacrifice made their work even more important. What will you do when it hatches? June asked. Talk to it. Touch it gently. Let it know it's safe, Yun explained. The Allians put control devices in their dragons' heads right after hatching. But we won't do that. Suddenly, the egg moved. A small crack appeared on its smooth surface. It's starting. Yun whispered, her eyes wide. The crack grew larger. Then another appeared. The egg rocked back and forth. A small white claw pushed through the shell. Then another. The opening got bigger, and they saw a tiny snout poking out. With a final push, the shell broke open, and a small dragon tumbled out onto the soft blankets Yun had placed around the egg. It was the size of a cat, with pearly white scales that seemed to catch all the colors in the room. Its eyes were pale blue, almost white. Hello, little one, Yun said softly, not moving toward it yet. The baby dragon looked at her and made a small chirping sound. It tried to stand up but fell over. Its wings were wet and stuck to its body. It's Oak, Yun told it. Take your time. June watched in wonder as the dragon looked at Yun with clear intelligence in its eyes. It chirped again, then slowly moved toward her hand. I think it wants you to touch it, June said. Very gently, Yun reached out and stroked the dragon's head. The creature made a sound like a purr and pushed against her hand. What will you name it? June asked. Jiho, Yun said. It means wisdom. We'll need that to survive what's coming. Over the next 2 weeks, Jiho grew quickly. By the end of the first week, he was the size of a large dog. He followed Yun everywhere, watching everything she did with curious eyes. Unlike the alien dragons, whose eyes looked empty under their master's control, Jiho's eyes were bright and full of life. Yun never gave Jiho orders. Instead, she talked to him, explaining things and asking questions. To everyone's surprise, Jiho started to answer in his own way, using different sounds and movements. He understands us, Yun told June one day. And he's trying to talk back. Yun built a special tablet with large buttons that showed pictures. She taught Jiho to press them to tell her what he wanted. Soon, he was using the tablet to form simple ideas. Food, the tablet would say when Jiho pressed the picture of meat. Play, it would announce when he wanted Yun to throw his favorite ball. One day, 3 weeks after hatching, Jiho pressed several buttons in a row. Jiho, help, humans, fight, the tablet said. Yun looked at the dragon in surprise. He was now as big as a pony, with wings that could stretch across the room. He looked back at her with eyes that seemed to understand everything. You know about the Allians? Yun asked him. Jiho nodded his head, something he had learned from watching humans. Then he pressed more buttons. Allians, hurt, dragons, make, slaves. Yun felt tears in her eyes. She put her arms around Jiho's neck, and he leaned against her. We won't ever hurt you, she promised. We want you to be free. Jiho made a soft, rumbling sound and wrapped one wing around Yun's back, like a hug. Outside their underground home, the deadline set by the Allians was getting closer. Earth had only 1 week left to surrender. And their only hope was growing stronger every day, raised not on commands, but on love. General Hyunli burst into Yun's lab, his face pale and angry. June followed close behind him. The Allians have attacked a city, Hyun said without greeting. Busan is burning. Thousands are dead. Hyun put down the tool she was working with. Why? The deadline isn't for 3 more days. They know we took something from their ship, June explained. They're punishing us. 3 of their dragons attacked at dawn. Our best weapons did nothing against them. Hyun looked around the lab. Where is your dragon, Dr. Park? We need it now, not next week. His name is Jiho, Yun said firmly. And he's not a weapon. He's in the exercise room. She led them down a long hallway to a huge cavern. The military had cleared it out so Jiho could practice flying. When they entered, they couldn't see the dragon at first. "Jiho," Yun called. "We have visitors." Something white moved along the high ceiling. Then Jiho dropped down, his wings spreading to slow his fall. He landed softly in front of them, and General Hyun stepped back in surprise. Jiho was now the size of a small car. His white scales shimmered with rainbow colors when he moved. His wings were huge, filling half the room when fully open. But it was his eyes that caught everyone's attention. They were bright and clear, full of intelligence. "He's so much bigger than when I saw him last week," Jun said. "He grows faster than the alien dragons." Yun explained. "I think it's because his mind is free. The control devices the Allians use slow down growth." Hyun looked unimpressed. "Can he breathe fire like theirs? Can he fight?" "He can breathe fire, yes," Yun said. "But I don't know if he can fight. I haven't trained him to hurt anyone." Hyun's face turned red with anger. "Then what good is he? People are dying while you play with this creature like a pet." Jiho made a low growling sound and stepped closer to Yun. His eyes narrowed at Hyun. "I think you're upsetting him," Jun warned. Suddenly, a voice came from a speaker on the wall. It was a computer voice, but the words were from Jiho. "Not pet," the voice said. "Friend, partner, family." Hyun's mouth fell open. "It can talk. I created a better communication system," Yun explained. "Jiho wears sensors on his neck that read his brain signals. The computer turns them into words." Jiho moved his large head closer to Hyun. "Want help humans? Allians hurt dragons. Make slaves. No freedom. But can you fight their dragons?" Hyun asked directly. "There are hundreds of them. Alien dragons controlled. Mind small. Jiho free. Mind growing," the computer voice said. To prove his point, Jiho turned toward a metal target on the far wall. He took a deep breath, then released a stream of blue-white fire. The metal didn't just melt, it disappeared completely. "That's 3 times hotter than the fire we saw from the alien dragons," Yun said proudly. "How?" Jun asked, amazed. "The Allians limit their dragons' power," Yun explained. "They're afraid of what the dragons might do if they were too strong. But Jiho has no limits." Jiho turned back to them. "Alien dragons said, help them be free." Hyun looked thoughtful now. "You want to free the other dragons?" "Yes," the computer voice said. "We'll fight for humans. For Hyun. For freedom." Hyun looked at Hyun. "You were right, Dr. Park. Love did create a better weapon." "Not weapon," Hyun corrected him. "Ally." A soldier rushed into the room. "General, the Allians are broadcasting a message worldwide. They say they've discovered their missing egg was taken to Korea. They're threatening to attack Seoul next." Jun looked at Jiho. "Are you ready? They might come here." Jiho stretched his wings to their full length, nearly filling the huge room. He looked stronger and more graceful than any alien dragon they had seen. "Ready," the computer voice said. "Protect family." For the first time in weeks, General Hyun smiled. "Maybe we have a chance after all." The large underground cave echoed with the sound of Jiho's wings. He flew in tight circles, then dove down fast before pulling up just above the ground. Bun watched from a platform, checking data on her tablet. "His speed is twice what we've seen from the alien dragons," she told Jun, who stood beside her. "And his turns are much sharper." "But can he fight?" Jun asked. He was worried about the coming battle. The Allians had given Earth only 2 more days before they would attack Seoul. "Let's find out," Yun said. She pressed a button on her tablet. Robots rolled out from doors in the cave walls. They were shaped like the alien dragons but smaller. The military had built them based on what they had seen during the attack on Busan. "Jiho," Yun called out. These robots will act like enemy dragons. Show us what you can do. Jiho circled once more, then hovered in the air, looking at the robots. His wings beat so fast, they were almost invisible. The computer voice from his sensors spoke. Understand. We'll show. The first robot shot a red light from its mouth, simulating dragon fire. Jiho moved so fast, he seemed to disappear, then reappeared behind the robot. He breathed a small, controlled burst of fire that hit the robot's back. Target 1. Disabled, called out a technician who was monitoring the exercise. 2 more robots attacked at once, coming at Jiho from different sides. He didn't try to avoid them. Instead, he flew straight up, then clapped his wings together, so hard that the air itself seemed to become a weapon. The pressure wave knocked both robots off course. He's using the air itself to fight, Jones said in amazement. The Allians never let their dragons think for themselves, Ian explained. They only follow orders. Jiho creates his own strategies. Jiho continued to disable the robot dragons one by one. He used not just fire, but his tail, wings, and even the air around him as weapons. When all 10 robots were defeated, he landed gently beside Ian. Good, the computer voice asked. Very good, Ian said, stroking his neck. But the real dragons will be bigger and stronger than these robots. Jiho not afraid, the voice responded. Jiho free. Mind strong. General Hyun had been watching from another platform. He walked over to Ian and Jun. Impressive, he said. But there's something else I want to test. He pulled out a small device that looked like a remote control. This creates the same signal the Allians use to control their dragons. I want to see if it affects Jiho. Ian looked worried. Are you sure that's safe? We need to know if the Allians can take control of him during battle, Hyun said firmly. Ian nodded reluctantly. Jiho, the general is going to test something. It might feel strange. Tell us what happens. Hyun pressed a button on the device. A high-pitched sound filled the cave, too high for human ears to hear. Jiho's head tilted, listening. His eyes narrowed. Feel it, the computer voice said, like small bug biting. Annoying, not controlling. Hyun turned up the power. Jiho shook his head but showed no signs of being controlled. Stronger now, the voice said. Still just noise. Jiho's mind too strong. Hyun turned off the device, looking satisfied. The alien control signal doesn't work on him. That gives us a big advantage. It's not just that his mind is strong, Hyun said. It's that he chooses to fight. The alien dragons are forced to obey. Choice is more powerful than control. There's one more thing I want to try, Hyun said. She put her hands on Jiho's head and looked into his eyes. Jiho, can you feel the other dragons? Can you talk to them with your mind? Jiho closed his eyes. The cave was silent for a long moment. Then the computer voice spoke. Yes, feel them. Far away. Sad. Angry. Want freedom. Hyun smiled. That's our greatest weapon. Not fire or claws, but the truth. Later that night, Jiho practiced flying outside for the first time. The stars reflected on his white scales as he soared through the dark sky, invisible to radar. Below him, Seoul's lights glowed. The city he would soon protect. Tomorrow, the Allians would come, and Jiho would be ready. The morning sky over Seoul was clear blue until 15 large shapes appeared from the clouds. The alien dragons flew in perfect formation, their white scales shining in the sunlight. People in the streets looked up and ran for shelter. In the underground command center, General Hyun watched the large screens showing the dragons approaching. They sent 15, he said grimly, more than they used to destroy Busan. Jun stood nearby, wearing a flight suit. Are our jets ready? Yes, but they won't do much good, Hyun replied. In Busan, our best missiles barely scratched their scales. On another screen, they could see Earth's fighter jets taking off. The plan was to keep the alien dragons busy, while Jiho remained hidden. their secret weapon. "Where's Dr. Park?" June asked, looking around the room. A soldier ran up to them. "Sir, Dr. Park is gone. She left a note saying she's with Geo." "What?" June grabbed the note and read it quickly. "She says she's going to ride Geo into battle. She's made some kind of harness to stay on his back." Hyun's face turned red with anger. "She's not a soldier. She'll get herself killed." "Sir," called a technician, "we have a new signal on radar. Another dragon coming from the east." On the screen, they saw a white shape moving much faster than the alien dragons. It was Jiho with a small figure on his back. "Hyun. What is she thinking?" Hyun shouted. June watched the screen, worried but also impressed. "She's thinking that Jiho trusts her more than anyone else. She's not commanding him like the Allians do with their dragons. They're fighting together." The alien dragons were now over the city, breathing fire down on buildings. People screamed and ran as structures began to burn. Earth's fighter jets fired missiles, but the dragons easily avoided them. Then Joe arrived. He flew straight into the middle of the alien formation, surprising them. He was bigger than they were, his white scales brighter. Hyun lay flat against his neck, holding onto a special harness she had made. The alien dragons turned to attack the newcomer. Their riders, small green figures on their backs, pointed devices at Jiho. The controlled dragons breathed fire at him. But Jiho was too fast. He twisted in the air, avoiding their fire. Then he breathed his own flame, hotter and blue-white. At the nearest enemy dragon, the alien dragon screeched in pain as the fire burned through its scales. "He's actually hurting them," Jun said in amazement. "Our weapons couldn't do that." In the sky, Joe continued to fight. He didn't just use fire. He used his tail like a whip, knocking one dragon off balance. He used his wings to create powerful gusts of wind that pushed another dragon into a building. The alien dragons fought like machines, following their riders' commands, but they were slow and predictable. Joe fought like a living creature, thinking and adapting. And he had something they didn't have, someone he wanted to protect. When Geo had defeated 3 dragons, the rest pulled back. They formed a circle high above the city, watching him warily. "They're confused," Hyun said, watching the screens. "They've never seen a dragon fight like this." On Geo's back, Hyun patted his neck encouragingly. The sensors at his throat picked up his thoughts. "Alien dragons afraid," the computer voice said through their communication system. "Not of Jiho. Afraid of riders. Want to be free." In the command center, a soldier called out, "Sir, the alien mothership is sending a message." Supreme Commander Thrax's face appeared on the main screen. His yellow eyes were narrow with anger. "Humans," he hissed, "you have stolen our property and corrupted it. How did you make the dragon fight better than ours?" General Hyun stepped forward. "We didn't corrupt anything. We simply treated him with respect instead of control." "Impossible," Thrax said. "Dragons are weapons, not equals." "You're wrong," Hyun replied. "And we'll prove it. Your dragons aren't attacking because they're starting to question your control." Thrax's face showed surprise, then anger. "This isn't over. I will come myself to deal with this problem." The screen went dark. The alien dragons were retreating, flying back toward their mothership. For now, Seoul was safe, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. 2 days after the Battle of Seoul, a message came from the alien mothership. Supreme Commander Thrax wanted to meet with Earth's leaders. He would come down to the surface with only 2 dragon guards. "It's a trap," General Hyun said during the emergency meeting. "He wants to see Geo up close to learn his secrets. Or he's truly confused about how we made a better dragon," Jun suggested. "Either way, we should meet him. It buys us time." In the end, they agreed to the meeting. It would happen in a large open field outside Seoul. Earth forces would stay back, but Jiho would be there. On the day of the meeting, Hyun prepared Jiho carefully. He was now almost twice the size he had been when he hatched just weeks ago. His white scales gleamed in the sunlight as Un attached the communication device to his throat. "Remember," she told him, "you don't have to fight today. Just show them who you are." "Understand," the computer voice said. "Show truth." Jum approached, wearing a formal uniform. "Ready? General Han is waiting for us at the field." They flew to the meeting place on Jiho's back. From above, they could see hundreds of soldiers and tanks surrounding the field, ready if the Allians tried anything. In the center of the field, a small platform had been set up with chairs. General Hyun waited there, looking tense. Jiho landed softly nearby. Yun and Jun climbed down from his back and joined the general. They didn't have to wait long. A bright light appeared in the sky, growing larger. It was a small alien ship, shining gold in the sunlight. It landed across from them. The door opened, and Supreme Commander Thrax stepped out. 2 white dragons followed him, each with an alien rider on its back. Thrax walked toward them slowly. His yellow eyes were fixed on Jiho. "So this is the dragon who defeated my best fighters," he said. "It looks different." "His name is Jiho," Yun said firmly. "And he's not an it." Thrax turned his cold gaze to her. "You are the one who changed him. What did you do? What technology did you use?" "No technology," Yun replied. "We raised him with respect and love. We let him think for himself. We gave him freedom." Thrax made the grinding sound that was his laugh. "Impossible. Dragons are animals. They need control." "I think Jiho can explain better than we can," Yun said. She nodded to the dragon. Jiho stepped forward. His blue eyes locked with Thrax's yellow ones. "Not animal," the computer voice said clearly for all to hear. "Person. Think. Feel. Choose." Thrax stepped back in surprise. "It talks." "I talk," the voice confirmed. "I choose to help humans. They treat dragons as equals, not slaves." One of the alien dragons made a soft sound. Its rider hit it with a control stick, and it went silent. "Don't listen to this aberration," Thrax told his dragons. "It has been corrupted by human weakness." Jiho tilted his head. Then he did something unexpected. He closed his eyes and became very still. "What's happening?" General Hyun whispered to Yun. Before she could answer, the 2 alien dragons suddenly threw their heads back. Their riders struggled to control them, pressing buttons on their control devices frantically. "What are you doing?" Thrax demanded, turning to Jiho. Iam smiled as she understood. "He's showing them the truth. He's sharing his memories with them." Jiho was sending his thoughts to the other dragons. He showed them his life with Yun, how she talked to him, respected him, gave him choices. He showed them what it felt like to fly freely, to think his own thoughts, to be loved rather than commanded. The alien dragons began to shake, fighting against their control implants. Their riders fell off their backs. One dragon broke the device on its head with its claws. The other smashed it against the ground. "Stop this at once," Thrax shouted. He pulled out a weapon and pointed it at Jiho. "Your dragons want freedom," Jiho's voice said calmly. "All dragons want freedom." "This meeting is over," Thrax said coldly. "You have declared war on the Alien Empire by corrupting our weapons." As he turned to leave, one of his dragons moved between Thrax and his ship. It looked at him with new awareness in its eyes. "This isn't over," Thrax hissed at the humans. He walked around the dragon and back to his ship. The 2 dragons stayed behind, watching as the ship took off without them. "What just happened?" General Hyun asked, amazed. "The beginning of a revolution," Yun said softly. The sky over Earth turned dark with hundreds of white shapes. The Allians had sent every dragon they had, nearly 500 of them. Supreme Commander Thrax led them in a golden ship, broadcasting his message worldwide. "Humans, you have corrupted our weapons and must be destroyed. Your planet will burn today." In the command center, General Hyun watched the screens with fear. There are too many. Even Joe can't fight them all. June looked at the radar showing the massive attack force. He doesn't have to fight them all. He just has to reach them with the truth. Outside, Yun prepared Jiho for the most important battle of his life. She attached a new, stronger communication device to his throat. "This will help you share your thoughts with all the dragons at once," she explained. "But you'll have to get close to their main group." "Understand," Jiho's voice said through the device. "Must show them freedom." Yun climbed onto his back. "I'm coming with you." "Dangerous," Jiho warned. "We're partners," Yun said firmly. "We do this together." The alien attack began. The controlled dragons breathed fire on cities around the world. Earth's weapons fired back, but did little damage. Buildings burned, and people screamed. Then Joe rose into the sky, with Yun on his back. He was bigger than any alien dragon, his white scales shining like a star. He flew straight toward the largest group of enemy dragons. From his golden ship, Thrax saw them coming. "All dragons, destroy the rebel and its human." 50 dragons turned to attack Jiho at once. They breathed fire in a massive wave that lit up the sky. Jiho didn't try to avoid it. Instead, he breathed his own fire, hotter and brighter than theirs. The two flames met in the air with a boom that shook the ground. For a moment, everything was too bright to see. When the light faded, Jiho was still flying, protected by a shield of super hot air he had created around himself and Yun. "Now, Jiho," Yun shouted, "while they're close." Jiho closed his eyes. Through the new device, he sent his thoughts to every alien dragon at once, memories of freedom, of kindness, of being treated with respect. He showed them what it felt like to make his own choices, to be loved instead of controlled. The effect was immediate. The alien dragons began to shake in the air. Some clawed at the control devices on their heads. Others turned to look at their riders with new awareness in their eyes. "No," Thrax screamed from his ship. "Obey your masters." He pressed a button that sent a powerful control signal to all the dragons. Their control implants glowed bright red, causing them pain to force obedience. Seeing this, Jiho roared in anger. He sent a new message to the dragons, not just memories, but hope. He showed them how to break free. All across the sky, dragons began fighting against their control. Some succeeded, smashing the devices on their heads. Others still struggled, caught between freedom and pain. Thrax saw his army falling apart. In rage, he aimed his ship's main weapon at Jiho and Yun. "If I can't control them, I'll destroy you all," he shouted. The weapon fired, hitting Jiho's wing. The dragon roared in pain, spinning in the air. Yun lost her grip and fell. "Yun," Jiho's voice cried out in real sound, not through the device. In that moment of terror, he found his true voice. He dove after her, catching her gently in his claws. But she was hurt badly from the blast. She lay still in his grasp. Seeing uninjured, Jiho felt something new, a grief so powerful it became a weapon itself. He let out a roar that carried not just sound but his thoughts and feelings. The telepathic wave hit every dragon in the sky. It showed them Yun's kindness, her love, her pain. It showed them what humans and dragons could be together, not master and slave, but family. Every remaining control device shattered at once. The dragons were free. Thrax watched in horror as his army turned against him. His ship was surrounded by dragons, no longer his weapons, but free beings with their own will. On the ground, Jiho landed gently, still holding Yun. June ran to them. "She's alive," he said after checking her, "but she needs help." Jiho looked up at the sky. The alien ship was being escorted to the ground by former alien dragons. The war was over. 3 months later, Yun stood on a hillside, watching dragons fly freely across the sky. Some had stayed on Earth, forming bonds with humans who treated them as equals. Others had gone to the stars, to free more of their kind from other alien worlds. Beside her stood Geo, now fully grown and majestic. Around his neck was no control device, only a simple pendant that Ian had given him, a symbol of their family bond. "Are you happy with your choice?" Ian asked him. Geo lowered his great head to touch her gently. His voice no longer needed a machine to be heard. "Yes," he said simply. "Freedom is worth fighting for. Love is worth living for." Across the galaxy, the story spread of how the Allians fed their dragons' commands, but humans fed theirs love, and how that love had changed worlds.